So, since it is the new year, can you hear me now better? So since it is the new year, we have this sort of hope to attain some kind of new result So in order for that to happen, we need to create or implement the circumstances, the auspicious circumstances to allow that to happen. So we're all Dharma practitioners here. We're all practitioners of the Dharma, and therefore we all have the same aspiration, the same motivation. And so based on the path of practicing the Dharma, we should think that we will be able to achieve a good result. And so when we talk about all sentient beings have the same desire. What is that same desire? They all wish for happiness. And they all don't want the same thing. They don't want suffering. But when we talk about not wanting dissatisfaction or suffering or pain, just by having that wish to be free from that kind of suffering, there won't be any benefit alone in just having the wish to be free from those kinds of things. So, and likewise, merely wanting happiness is not enough. We also need to know the method for attaining that happiness. But it's not enough to merely just have the method. We also need to take up the method. We need to adopt it. We need to implement it. We need to practice the method. And likewise, it's not enough to just not want suffering. We also need to be able to identify what the basis or the root of suffering is, and then based on that, knowing how to eradicate or eliminate that suffering. So in order to get this happiness, then we need the method. And then having the method, we need to practice it. And likewise, we also need to know what the root or the basis of dissatisfaction is, and know how to eliminate that. And if we are able to actually implement those things, then that is what we call practice. So if I were to place myself as the example, I myself, I don't want suffering. I don't want to experience suffering. I have no such thought at all or wish that I should experience suffering. And also, I wish for happiness. I want happiness. And likewise, all of you here, and all sentient beings as well, we're all the same in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. However, merely by the fact that we all have such desires or wishes will not accomplish anything by itself. This is because we also need to practice this. We need to put it into practice. And also, again, talking about myself, since I don't want suffering and I wish for happiness, then there's a lot of expectation and fear there. It's quite strong. So if we have this kind of strong expectation and fear there, then there won't really be any benefit. In fact, it will be quite difficult for us. So when we're talking about ourselves as practitioners, there are three things that we need. First, we need the view, then we need the conduct, and then we need the meditation. And not only that, we need to unite these. We need to bring them into communion with one another. And then we'll be able to achieve the result. So if we just merely hope for the result without these three, then that's kind of just an empty hope. And so what we need to do is we need to practice in terms of having the view, the conduct, and the meditation, and then we will be able to achieve the result, which is happiness. So what is that we want to get? What is it that we want to achieve? We want to achieve the result. And what is the result? The result is this lasting happiness. It is this continuous kind of experience of happiness that is free from suffering. And this is what we call the result of happiness. And this is something that we all want. We all want to achieve it. So in order to get this, first we need the view, the conduct, and the meditation. And if we have all of those three, then there is a hope for us to achieve the result.
tani samsamla deva tani tobatang samsamla dingo yongatu so 그럼 sorwa zamchi 그랬어. sorwa 세나고서 sorwa를 맞도데 샘 그니는 데 말했을 때 sorwa zamchi 그랬어. 근데 대다 딱 봤더니 요 말했어. 대랑 집부 요나 사님 샘바 집부 매바 차가요 봐. 제 말이야. 근데 대다 지르와요 왔더니 지르와요. 그리고 딱딱 대고 말아 와. 된다고 대가서는 나랑 소라 뭐야 그랬더니 저때 말했어. 하고서 나랑서 뭐야 됐단 그게 언제로 매 받으러 와. 근데 삼삼아세마 집부자 삼삼아세마 집부 맞아가대. 샘그 니들이라고 지금 당한테 가야 말했어. 대가서는 서로와 잠치를 했어.
So again, when we talk about ourselves, we have this experience where sometimes we're feeling happy, we're feeling joyful, our minds are feeling quite pleasant. But then other times, for example, when we encounter some kind of difficulty, we experience unhappiness, dissatisfaction. And when we talk about that, this is only an experience or a feeling that we have. It's not actually the true state of our minds. It's not the nature of our minds. And so if we're having these experiences where sometimes we're happy and sometimes we're dissatisfied, this is not what we're looking for. This is not what we're looking to get. What we're looking to achieve is this kind of lasting happiness, this lasting joy. And so this experience of sometimes being happy and sometimes being dissatisfied, this is only a feeling or experience that we have.
근데 이제 가시기 니마 가시래라 대해서 지부 정나 아 배야 그 정성 나 배지부 정성인데 지부 문에도 정요 말았어 지부 용 문에도 무슨 거 말아 다다처럼만 니마 가시를 지부 정해야 돼 따바댐바 용 말았어 따바댐바 매바서 하고서 건지와 장기랬어 니마 지금 라요가 갈린 채용 그러와 어떤데 이제 다서 드니 갈세나 되는 거서 다다 니급 잠지라 되는 아더니 지부 그 나와 샤래야 땅 딩그 그 나와 샤래야 또 탐질라 레톡식 좀 무서워요 말았어 하고서 레톡식 좀 마테나 지분들 안가테나 두분 빼깔에 가본들 센데라 지 똑같이 무제라 이거 용거랬어. 근데 니급 그 지부가 나와 샤리아 땅 두부가 나와 샤리아 되니 맞다봐 용거를 받더니 용거랬어. 데라레 독침무제야 요 말했어. 하고서 데라레 독침무 소송와 있나? 되니 나서 문이 되왔더니 지루함에 빠게 되왔대. 니 두부 말했어. 서로가 지선 장사와 심난 또 로르와지 서로가 지선 장사 비타서더니 내가 운이데 도배하는 깨제 그랬어. 같이 차례 맞도 또 말했어.
So again, sometimes if we experience some kind of state of happiness for some time, maybe for a few days, then we think, oh yeah, this is really nice, I'm feeling really good, I really like this. But again, this is something that will change. It's something that's impermanent. It's not lasting. And so soon thereafter, we will experience some kind of difficulty. We'll face some kind of difficulty. And again, we'll feel dissatisfaction. And so these are just the appearances of states of happiness and states of dissatisfaction. And so these, we should not hope for any kind of state of happiness like that or be afraid of any kind of state of dissatisfaction like that, because we can't obtain the lasting form of happiness that we're actually seeking with such hope and fear or expectation and fear. And actually this will create hindrances or block the true lasting happiness for us.
근데 이제 그 서로와 써야 되더니 다다이나 다다 매바차라 된다고 가르쳐놨더니 그것도 따봤더니 요 말했어. 샘그 다시 시바야 맞다. 샘그 무분이를 문에대 말했어. 샘그 시 문에대 말했어. 샘그 철망지 그랬어. 된다고 철망 그지를 신바식 전부 제송하이나 그래서 신바 철망 되더니 신바식 전부지 되더니 레독식 전부지로 와. 어떤 데지나 되라 된든 신바식 전부요나 그래서 대화 토비아라 깨르제리 그랬어. 어떤 데 이제 다 된든 maybe 그거니 kana concept 그랬더니 딩 니그 데비가 나와 샤난다 다 딩그 나와 샤난다 다 데를 잡을 전부 좀 되지 데라레도 가면 봐봐 어떤 지달이 되고 모델라 따니 진짜 성마이나 근데 데드니까 가르 샤나요 근데 잡을 가면 말서 코랑사 저도 그랬어 하고서 조선 어떤 거 샘기 진짜 성마이나 지나한테 고민이 다서 곰 성마이나 나랑 소다 같은 대화 친구 진절바 매파가 샘거든 대화 세고라 어떤 그 대화 같은 토비아 같은 다 남강원에 지금 지래 보고 그랬어.
So when we talk about these feelings of happiness or these feelings of dissatisfaction, these are things that we can't always have. They're fleeting, and so these aren't actually the true nature of things. It's not the true nature of our mind. It's only a feeling or an experience. And so based on these experiences, we have this kind of clinging towards these experiences, and then based on that, we have strong feelings of expectation and fear. And so this will actually block the attainment of this true and lasting happiness that we're seeking for. And so this is something that we need to eliminate or get rid of. And based off of the absence of this expectation and fear, then when whatever kind of experiences arise for us, whether they be pleasant or unpleasant, then we won't see any kind of major difference between these experiences. And so we'll actually be able to liberate the experiences. And then meditating in this way, then we will be able to attain the true result.
이제 다당가라서 추제하고 라마요바 근데 밀리토비어스 이나가라서 다다다 가세직 발당가서 저기 뒤수요방가라서 하고 말아 땡땡요 말아 땡땡 따빠따마들 가야요 말았어 근데 이따서 다다 이말에 이젠당가라서 되는 문에 정에 시스템 답반이 수준형 답반이 가르쳐내더니 주양 답반을 저기하고 람가라는 좋다바 제거야라 라란 제거야 그래서 라라라라리 그랬어.
So here we have the meaningful freedoms and advantages. So we have the freedom to practice and we've obtained the precious human form. However, our time here is quite uncertain. We don't know how long our time here will last. And so we need to be able to make use of this opportunity that we have each and every day. And not only that, from the bottom of our heart we need to practice this. We need to practice with the freedoms and advantages that we have and know that this depends on ourselves.
시위기년을 가양 판토고 말했을 때 깨져 전부 요바되고 나서 시위기년 생각하고서 시위기 뒤라 되게 멍 깨져 전부 판토고를 배세나 가양 판토고 말했어 하고서 근데 지가서 집반줄 전부지 잡아야나요 시위년을 가양 판토고 말했어 집반줄 생각하고서 집반줄 가서 전부지 요나요 그래서 12년을 5만 때문에 선생님 된다고 측직가 그랬어. 하고서 측직세나 하고서 이은지 저지 잠발랑 참아 셀그 거야 진을 세나 하고서 잠발랑 사삼아 셀그 거야 진을 넘쳐 된지 지겨나요. 12년을 되니 되게 가야 판토고 말했어. 5만 때문에 선생님 된다고 측직그 되니 저가 판토체 그랬어. 하고서 어떤 얘기 잡으랬어. 준세한테 나가서 진주로다 망깨장 던져겠더니 내가 장수 시위기는 걸 되겠더니 저는 가야 쪽지 듣고 말했어. 판토요 말했어. 근데 담이 주세야 되긴 없는 게 내가 비오나 담문이 판토가 진부대 판 문이 토야 돼 되게 토그랬어. 제가 가요.
So other than that, if we don't practice, then for example, if we just become famous, then actually, if someone's famous or they have some kind of great name or status, when it comes time for them to die, for them to pass away, their name and fame won't benefit them at all. It won't be of any help to them. And likewise, if someone has a lot of wealth, a lot of riches, then when it comes time for them to die, their wealth and their riches won't benefit them at all either. And however, at the time of death, even just reciting one time, "Oh money, pay me home," that would be of benefit. So we need to understand that all of these other things, whether we're talking about fame or wealth, etc., they won't be of any benefit for us at the time of death. However, practicing the Dharma will. So from now on, in order to practice the Dharma, what is it that we need to have? Well, first of all, we need to have the view, the conduct, and the meditation. And we also need to know the key points for practice. And then, based on that, we need to practice, and we need to practice with the motivation of bodhicitta. So even if for only one day that we're alive, we should be thinking, all right, today I'm going to practice, and I'm going to practice for all sentient beings. So having this kind of thought with bodhicitta and thinking that we will be the representative, we will represent all sentient beings. And then if we can practice in this way with such bodhicitta, then our lives, our human life, will become meaningful. So here, what are we all doing? We're all here listening to the Dharma. And so as we're listening to the Dharma, what should we be doing? Well, we should be thinking that all these sentient beings who are my parents, in their place, I'm going to listen to the Dharma. It's as if they're all listening to the Dharma with me, and I'm representing them. And so we need to develop bodhicitta in this way. So first we develop this bodhicitta for all sentient beings. So we think that I'm going to benefit all other sentient beings, I'm going to accomplish their welfare, I'm going to do it all for them. So first, this is the kind of bodhicitta that we must develop.
Niba tsama chik tupon, rwa changchik charang soga sem jeba, ta ngi sem jeba, sem chen niba chik tupon, 근데 지대는 가르스나 드니 지나더니 차상 야고 착다래 냠나 야고 착다봐야 라더니 드니 가르스나 젠데도 받치세야 추 람드로야 또 뭐보다 드니 판독 제모여래서 장적 그 선생한테 연든 쌈지면 쳐바랬더니 니바더니 드르레스 근데 인터도 나랑 속었더니 가르스나 저랑 쏟아요니 따와 공부하던 봤더니 따군다 나라 옆에 따군라 속았더니 상지당 장적 셈발라 옆에 따와 공부 참마 니바 찍다 보니 하고서 니바 찍다 보면서 하고서 든들고 보니 냠나 지나더니 진압 첨부 니바 첨부를 했더니
So now, for example, let's talk about ourselves. So here I am teaching all of you the Dharma, and all of you are here and you're listening to the Dharma. But not only that, there are so many sentient beings. There are limitless sentient beings. There are beings that we can see, and there are also beings that exist that we can't see. And so for all of these beings, we need to, as much as we possible, generate this motivation that we will benefit them genuinely. And so this is the kind of motivation that we need to give rise. So whether we are listening to the Dharma or we are practicing the Dharma, we need to have this thought that we will benefit beings, we will accomplish their welfare. And so this is the kind of bodhicitta that we need to give rise to. And not only that, but we need to gather all of the energy or the power of our bodhicitta and concentrate it into one. And so then we really will be able to benefit all. Because if you think about it, if we take all of our bodhicitta, all of us here, all of you, myself, and all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and we gather that power all into one, then it's something that becomes extremely powerful and can accomplish the welfare of sentient beings. So, and then based on knowing the key points of practice, then we need to cultivate this mind of bodhicitta, mind of enlightenment. So by knowing that, knowing the key points of practice, and then cultivating bodhicitta, then we become a genuine practitioner. And when we talk about a genuine practitioner, we talk about having pure perception and being free from any kind of bias. And if we're able to practice in that way, then we will achieve lots of siddhis and lots of blessings. So again, here when we're talking about a genuine practitioner, the genuine practitioner has this pure perception and devotion. And so however strong a practitioner's pure perception and devotion is, then just like that, their blessings and siddhis will be just as swift. So here, when we're talking about a practitioner, it's someone who has this pure perception and someone who is free from this bias. And so, as practitioners, we rely on a spiritual guide and we rely on many sublime beings. And so, when we have this kind of pure perception and are free from any kind of bias, then through that we will achieve lots of blessings and lots of excellent qualities.
lamar sharba tan leung ge yores to zo tamje kar sana jibu tamba shok me pa ge tamba jibu tamba mongbo ge shin na ten ro ba tan tena teni ta le na teni kar sana teni kanso tahna de shok me la sharba res shok me la sharba de nong se tamje lamar sharba ge ba yo song res nong se lamar shar sen ha ko song nong wa tamje lami ge se da da ta pa tamje nga se da tan nong wa tamje lami ge sharba sheba la kar sana tambo tambi jibu mongbo ten go res 드니 가서는 심진 청와라 당나장 거랬어. 근데 지디데 나서 청와라미 그러라라 샤그레스.
First, we rely on the spiritual guide. We rely on these sublime beings, and then we get their instructions. We listen to their instructions, and we study with them. And then we practice this pure perception and being free from any kind of prejudice or bias. And then based on that, we take all appearances as the Lama, as the Guru. And so then even we can have pure perception for all beings and practice with them as the Guru, as the Lama.
다바당 무기 가세 식첨보 다바당 당낭세고라 다바당 당낭 가세더니 망보이나 되게 갔으나더니 더니 지부담바 기위신이 나더니 망보 땡겨 그랬어. 더니 가서 기위신이 망보 때마다 용용 때마다 드리어 그랬어. 더니 당낭 가세 식첨보 요비가 소마대가 기위신이 빼 망보 땡겨 그랬어. 배나 조지 받는 아다샤 기위신이 자하지 때말했어. 저희라마 자하지라 타마 가르세나 가르쳐 버려서나 타마더니다 노스 탐지 자위라미 로바샤 더니 노스 탐지 자위라마 로바샤나다 정매 바창로 와 당보 자스 때말했어 더니 가르세나 타마 탐지 라미 글라샤로나다 나와 정매 바로와든 나와라 정가 요래 요마와 탐지 라미 로바샤 때더니 가르세나 더니 나와 탐지 라미 로바라 샤리다리나 어떤 지역한테 다서다 또 가르세나 더니 나냠스 랭랭 그 로마이나 더니 타마다 무기가세 시체모요나 타가스나더니 유신이 나서 지부담바 자위라마카세 망보때 나더니 야고요레 송바레스더니 드니 가세 나카냠낸 그 도마 다바당 무기 식총총 대수 망보요나 가세 뇨뇨때나 약수들 했더니 그래서 가지 다바당 무기 식총총 용견 그 도마 때가 자위라마 찍마도 땐터고 말했어 연나니 망보때 터고 말했어 가스나 콜라 다바당 무기 식총총 마도 요 말와 근데 노슬 라미 로바샤니 가르스고 던저그더니 체지라 올리라 쩌바라와 어떤 레용 두고 말했더니 근데 이다서다 가세 당당당더니 나냐면 그 당당당 무기 식체모 용견 대가 가르스나더니 지부담바 망보더니 가르스나 자빌라마 망보더니 때니다리 진는 망보당 우주 망보도 그랬어 우주 망보더니 그 체지라 오글린 저리야던가 근데 가르스나 노스 탐지 라마샤르소나다 라마가 잠가요 말스 잠깐 니사 말스 뜬들만 보더니 그럼 땜바당 뜬들이 남탔다고 그러지다 컨셉을 했더니 어떤 송열했어.
So if we're talking about practitioners or students of the secret mantra tradition, then it's said that however strong one's faith and devotion is, then they'll have strong pure perception, and then based on that they will be able to rely on many teachers and spiritual guides. So for example, it was said that Atisha himself had more than 100 different teachers, And this is because he was able to take all appearances as the guru. And so when we're able to take all appearances as the guru, actually we can't count appearances, right? So then there are countless numbers of gurus, countless numbers of spiritual guides. And so this is why it's said that it's very important to have lots of faith and lots of devotion, because however much faith and devotion we have, likewise, that's how many spiritual guides we'll be able to rely on. And so, likewise, if we have little faith and little devotion, then we actually can only rely on very few spiritual teachers. So this is why it's important for us to have lots of faith and lots of devotion, and thereby we will receive lots of blessings and lots of siddhis, and we will have countless lamas, countless spiritual guides. So this is how it is said.
nga kabla songa ja lonchin ba ga song to so na pe ma bo de yo rest lonchin ba ga song na de ma bo de yo ta na ka se shi chim bo yo na de ne ka se na de ne ta de ne la ma ma bo de ne ting ge yo ta de zhu wi ge go ne yang de ne ta de sa to song na yang de ne zhu ba ge go ne sang ji dang chang zhe sen ba xiang kong zhang me ba lan zhu ne de ne sang ji dang chang zhe sen ba ma bo ding ge yo de ne de ne sam ji me che ba den se de yo rest de ne zhu ba 주와 그 권이 와서 다다 지고 말아서 주와 그 권이 상지 당장주 선비기 상컴라 다다 깨지냐라는 상지 장주 선박은데 주냐 근데 이게 유신 장매 받던 게 어떤 장매 받던 야당 던지고 돌지 그랬더니 그래서 담지 다다니 되니 가서나 된다 다만 가시 시천부여나 되게 가서나 되니 유신이 된데 뭐 땡기 그랬더니 나더니 담식 차념 두고 말했어 담식 차념 만들어서 하고서 가서 거기다 다만 전부 여러 와 이 점선은 아까 담식 때 차념 두고 말했어 니 다나 전부 매나 유신이 망보 때나 그 담식 자념으로 그랬어요. 그래서 그 다나 전부 요 말과 근데 쩐나 다가로 왔더니 쩐당 남에겐 잡아당 쩐나 다나 그 담식 자념으로 그랬어요. 근데 흥아념스 랭큰 그 근데 somma 같은 가를 소소 다나도 무기 식침보였나? 근데 라마 유신이 망보 때는 그랬어요. 하고서 근데 다나도 무기 식침보 매나? 근데 라마 유신이 망보 맞대나 약속했어요.
So actually this is something that Longchenpa himself has spoken a lot of as well. So he said that however strong one's pure perception is, then likewise one will be able to rely on many different teachers, many different spiritual guides. And so with someone who has very strong pure perception, then there will be limitless manifestations of teachers. There will be limitless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This is because one has strong pure perception. But actually, if someone has very weak pure perception, then this will cause a deterioration of one's samaya vow, because one will start to see a lot of faults in many people, including one's teacher. And so this is why it said if one has weak pure perception, then one should rely on fewer teachers. There's a lot that's been said about this subject.
이나 된 돌디나 거송들 그 담식되는 디그레스. 근데 니다다 소소라 담나도 뭐 비식 첨보요나 이게 유신이 뭐 때는 저게 요랬을 때. 거송들 그 담식대 차님 조금 말했어요. 저와 다른 때는 진도 무드 뭐 돌려라 판톡 그랬어. 다나 쇼멘트 정화가 판톡 그랬어. 아니 이 가서 다다시바 남신 그랬더니 소소 가서 나더니 담나도 뭐기 시체모 된저게 로종 메송아이나 로종선 하고서 당나도 무기 시체모 로종데 메송아이나 나냠선된 거 나더니 간장만장 기유신이 망보 때는 연카였어. 하고서 삽삽제 버렸어. 다시 용용 때나 대 약속했어요. 어떤 일이었어?
So if we're talking about a practitioner of mantra or a student of mantra, then in that case one should be very, very careful. So in brief, if one's a student of mantra, then one needs to observe the samaya of body, speech, and mind. And if we're talking about someone who has very strong pure perception, very strong faith, and very strong devotion, then it's said that it's all right for them to rely on many different teachers. They'll actually be able to receive a lot of blessings and a lot of CDs from that. But if we're talking about someone who has very weak pure perception, very weak faith, and very weak devotion, then there's actually, it can be quite dangerous for them if they're relying on many different teachers, all kinds of different teachers. And so for them, it's much better to have fewer teachers in that case. So generally, the thing that we all want as Dharma practitioners is we want the most profound or the most sublime Dharma that we can get. But actually that's not the most important thing. The main thing for us is the Samaya vows. We need to practice the Dharma according to our Samaya vows. This is the main thing. And just like it said, if one does not practice the Dharma according to Dharma, then it can actually become a cause for being reborn in the lower realms. So there are many different kinds of Samaya, but if we talk about them in brief, there's the Samaya of body, the Samaya of speech, and the Samaya of mind. So the first one here is the Samaya of body. So if we don't observe the Samaya of body, then actually it can cause a lot of illness for us. It can cause a lot of obstacles for our body. So again, when we're talking here about the Samaya body, this is something that we don't want to deteriorate or be violated. So we want to make sure that our Samaya of body is something pure. If our Samaya is pure in that sense, then our body will also become pure. And then the elements of the body will become balanced, and then we won't experience any kind of illness or pain in the body, and then we will be able to obtain lasting happiness, the ultimate result. And so we can see here how this depends on the Samaya of our body.
어떤 지 용기였어. 그래서 담 체크했으면 되게 거의 담식 때라 라리기였어.
So when we're talking about the samaya of body, we have to say that this is something very important. Without proper samaya of body, then there's actually no hope for us to attain the rainbow body. When we talk about the rainbow body, it's the luminosity of the physical elements. And so this is something that needs proper samaya of the body. And so if we can practice well with correct samaya of our body, then we will be able to obtain the rainbow body. And so this is all based on having the correct samaya of the body. So if we're practicing what's referred to as the unsurpassed path of mantra, this is what we normally refer to as Dzogchen. And so when we're practicing unsurpassed mantra, we need to know how to purify body, we need to know how to purify speech, and we need to know how to purify mind. And so if we know how to do this, then there will be no deterioration of our samaya vows. But if in fact we don't know how to do this, then there's actually no point, there will be no benefit for us. So it's just as we talked about before, we said that our body is composed of these four elements. These four elements actually assist each other to compose or make up the body. And actually, we need to know what their real nature is. So what is their real nature? The real nature of these four elements is the nature of the four great consorts, or dakinis. And so this is something that we need to recognize. We need to recognize the nature of the body as being the nature of these four great consorts. And so if we're able to recognize that, then there will be no deterioration of our vows. Otherwise, there will be a deterioration of our vows if we don't recognize what the actual nature of these four elements, the nature of the body is. So this is something that we should know. So when we're talking about Dzogchen, for Dzogchen practitioners, there's one term that we really should understand, and it's this term of primordial purity. And actually, this is something that generally we don't understand quite precisely, because this primordial purity is the nature of the elements, and this is something that we should understand. So first, how do we identify this primordial purity? Well, it's in terms of one's own body, in terms of one's own physical form. So when we're trying to identify primordial purity, first, we shouldn't use something that's very far or remote from us. We actually should use what's closest to us.
그 송특 뭐 라타 남바 딱 와서 버려 왔다 된지가 있는 따뜻히 되네 도구여 말했어 도구여 도구로 와서 리마였으면 나도 딱으로 와 근데 지나 가르쳐 그래 그 송특거든 있는 데서 도구여 받는 데서
So right now, what we will be talking about is the body, speech, and mind, and this is the body, speech, and mind that we have right now. However, the body, speech, and mind is also the pure essence of enlightened body, speech, and mind, kusung, tuksung, and so we need to recognize that in order to attain the qualities of those three.
딱 가르쳤는데 나라서도 인가 예순 데데 가르쳤나 리데가 정신대 학고 송바이나 딱 리데드니 지시바에 막아서 가다지는 못 잡아야 봐 된다고 가니 딱봐 랑기 리데 이니 딱봐 딱 내가 알라메 그 추측 답되나 되니 가서 그랬더니 랑리 자위 쟁거를 세려랬을 때 자위 쟁거를 하고서 For
instance, when we talk about the body, we need to understand what its nature is. We need to understand the nature of the body. And the nature of the body is this primordial purity or alpha purity. And so, as it is said, one's own body is the mandala of the victorious ones. And this is something that we should understand.
내가 예습으로와 근데 이제 다 가르쳤는데 리그 니데 가르레스 근데 하고 그랬어 리그 니세나 하고서 리니 때니 저비 정거세나 가르라고 플라이 포탕세나 하고요 포탕세나 가서 저부 포탕세가 어떤 거지 가르쳤나 말아서 그 리데 가르전데 하고나 리니 플라이 포탕세 그랬어 플라세나 하고서 플라스 포탕했어
So what we possess right now are these three aspects of body, speech, and mind. There's nothing else besides these three. We have body, speech, and mind. And when we talk about what's the key point of body, is that it's the mandala of the victorious ones. And when we talk about it being the mandala of the victorious ones, we mean to say that it is a divine palace or a palace of the gods.
리니 하이 포탕을 했을 때 포탕을 와 나가니 송도 포탕을 했을 때 나가니데 리 나가요 와 나가니데 송도 포탕을 했어 송도 포탕 포탕센터 나가고서 하고서
송세는 송케기 송
송케기 송야야 락지기 송 되게 포탕을 했어
And when we talk about speech, we refer to it as the palace of enlightened speech.
되니 샘근니데 가르스나 되니 출기 포탕을 했을 때 지원해봐 출기 포탕과 샘니데 출기 포탕을 했어 출기 포탕
And when we talk about the mind is the palace of the Dharmakaya.
근데 인제 다 가르스나 리니 하이 포탕라 또니 되니 랑리 저리 좀 거시바에 맞다지 뭐 던지지 달리나 되니 강서 라메 그 따왔다 던지지 달리나 다 냠는 대그람신 던지지 냠는 지원나 내가서 리그 담스대 자님으로 말했어 리그 담스대 냠고 말와 자님으로 사던데 요 말했어
So again, when we talk about our body is this divine palace. It is the mandala of the victorious one, the mandala of the Buddhas. And so when we practice according to this and practice according to this view of the unsurpassed mantra vehicle, then our samaya of body will not deteriorate. It will not be violated.
Lini sai potong se de karsan tenita rang delат니 콜로가 단지 요레스 말아서 콜로가 세나 하고서 쭉 대칭 콜로세라 이제 찌찌세 좀바세레 좀바 냥가 대와라 이 상니신 콜로가 요 콜로가 같은 걸 던지 지달이나 던지 온데 다스든 탐제 대가르세나 되니 사이 포통 징걸 던지지달이나 더니 가서 그 송 특이 연단 천리요 같은 그송 특이 연단 천리도 연단 다음 제거든 용사의 하고서 용사의 탐지대 소속 리대 차요 말했을 때.
So when we talk about the body being this divine palace, it's something that is endowed with these 5 chakras. So the chakras of the crown, the heart, the navel, and so forth. These are all possessed by this divine palace. They are present there. And so when we talk about the origin or the source of all enlightened activity, of all these excellent enlightened qualities, it is actually one's own body.
근데 인디사스타 리니 가르라 따고를 나라면 냠nen지 저거 친구 냠nen지는 거랑서 리니데 사이 포장이 바하고 그래서.
So when we're talking about this key point of body, especially in the context of Dzogchen practice, what is it excuse me, what is it that we need to know? We need to know that the body is this divine palace, this palace of the gods.
아니 리 가스나더니 그 나랑서더니 린종아그 잠신을 받은 사당 매당 쳇당 온라서 가서더니다 리레진도 뭐 주지 봐야 봐. 뭐 던도 되니까 좀제그 잠신당 다가 남신 것들이다. 나서 그 리라 유치 차 상대 이니 넘버 딱봐. 함체가서 나더니 딱봐. 사당 한번 잠신라. 뭐 던저지 되리나더니 그 잠신 때더니 던지 잡아야 그랬어. 근데 인디 다수다 리니 하이 정거 써야 돼 던지 잡아야겠어. 하이 폭탄 써야 돼 던지 용이었어.
And when we talk about the physical elements, the elements of earth, fire, wind, and so forth, we need to understand what it is that their nature is. And the nature of each one of these is primordially pure. All of them are primordially pure, and all of them are the nature of the gods and the goddesses. And so this is what we need to recognize, is this key point of the body, this divine palace.
근데 이제 다소 리대형 가스나더니다. 그거 정신도 왔더니 나서 리대 그거 정신 됐더니 근데 이제 다소 리대 세바나더니 더니 세바당 동화라서 봐 지나 담스 자는 거 그랬어. 세바세나 하고서 맞아요. 동화세나 그래. 맞었더니 다 동화로 왔더니 동화당 왔더니 근데 이 세바 동화당 아니 까트지와 까트세나 그래. 하고서 가와제바 된저형한테 정거요 말 하고서 뭐라고 와서나 그래. 그 리데 그 그람신이 다스 그라던데 지더니 세바당 동화당 까트블라서 지난 그래. 그 말 같은. 언제 그 말에 된저지 다서 된저부터니 다 나라메 그더니 담스 자념 쪽으로 된저 그 정신데 하거나 리데라 세바당 동화당 입질라서 지금 말 와. 근데 까트블라서 그때 지금 말했더니 리데라더니 가서 나가서 칼라사에도 총콜 그랬던 줘봐서 그랬더니 총콜 피기로 왔더니 다른 라이 포장 있나 데라 총콜 그 줘봐비로 와 속진 걸로 줘봐비 던지나더니 그 손남 다이식 초조거로 와 던지네더니 담치 차는 나야 말했더니 뭐했더니 용기요 말했더니 인디 다스더니 리데 던지나 자침부 던지래서.
So when we talk about our own body, this body that we have right now, it's actually the nature of the Buddha body, the enlightened form. And so when this is the case, then it's not all right for us to inflict injury upon this body or to kill the body or to undergo austere practices that harm the body. This is not something that's acceptable to do. So in fact, we need to understand what the nature of this body is. And so, for example, whenever we eat food, we need to visualize that as an offering to the protectors. And then if we're able to do this, then this will complete the 2 accumulations. And so this is based off of understanding the precious nature of the body, which is this nature of the Buddha body.
근데 이제 다시 닦았으나 맞소 그 둘로코나요 초박을 쓰도 공부했더니 하고서 칼락사나요 초박을 쓰다. 근데 리데 저위전 그리 둘로고요 야포도 서버도 초박을 쓰더라. 초박세나 하고서 초박을 쓰다. 네. 샬라도 좀 전나요 가르스나 랑리 저위기 좀 걸때라더니 속고 초박을 쓰다. 총걸 그 쓰다 하고서 속세나. 속 offering. 어떤지 지달에는 속 드니까 그 저밖에 때 지고들 다더니 둘로 건설 칼라사틀 차서 어떤지 지달에는 되니까 어떤지 냠내나 따비 그만해서 뭐라 어떤지 지달에는 되니 냠내나 그게 요래서 근데 손바이나 가서 그이 담스기 냠차때 용사요 말했으니 냠 그이 담스기 때 냠창 로고 말와 가서 담스기 냠니 리라 나서 종교로 와 그래 말해 근데 이때 나서 담치는 뭐 종야 그또 짜와대 하고 그러거든 근데 이따 리니 하이 정거리 임바당 대라 딱나당 무게지 된 초바게 쓰다 샬라 쳐야 당 둘로포야 따라 근데 손바이나 되니 근데 그이 담스기 차념 된 로고 말했으니
So it's the same thing, for example, whether we're putting on our clothes or eating or any of these activities that are related to the body, we should understand that this is an offering to the Buddha body. So if we're eating food, for example, this is a feast offering to the mandala of the victorious ones. So we need to understand that and we need to practice with that kind of view. If we can practice with that kind of view, then this samaya of our body, the Buddha body actually, it will not be breached, it will not be violated. And so if we're able to practice with such pure perception and devotion, then there won't be any kinds of violations of this samaya of the Buddha body.
근데 인데 다소다 그니가서 칼락사야당 다가나지 도독해야당라 그래서 이제는 스포츠다 초박이 쓰듯이는 스포츠다 님주 당년 말았어. 뭐다 샤그랑 차그랑 전라 나당 되니까서나 던져고랑 쪽봤다 말아봤더니 쪽봤다 와 만봤다 예 던져고 때때는 나라메가 담식 당더니 등거 말했을 때 등거 말 생각나면 그 갑라 던지더니 이거 말했을 때 그래서 나한테 도서 단전 가서는 말랑 썼더니 쪽봤다와 당서 보대 차당 나가라 소파면 정리랑 생각 던져겠더니 넘버 똑바서 그래 던지게 남 똑대 그가 리그 담을 때 찬양도 그랬어.
So again, this is talking about whether we're eating food or putting on our clothes, anything that has to do with the body, and understanding that as a kind of offering. So usually when we talk about the body, we talk about it in terms of being composed of flesh, of blood, pus, and so forth. And so this kind of understanding is known as the being a view of kind of the body being filth or dirty, something like that. But when we're talking about the vehicle of mantra, this is not the view. This is something that's just a concept. It's a concept of filth and dirtiness. And so having that kind of view, that kind of concept will cause the samaya of body to be violated, the samaya of this Buddha body.
뜻다고 나라메 같은 가르스는 그 담스세에 배 가서 그래 망보를 왔다 망보도 십자체라 무슨 십자체라 던지렸을 때 무수당 딱 송야 깔이 각수로 던지렸을 때 송야 깔이 각수로 왔더니 가다가 따와라고 지 요송바이나 근데 가르스는 되니 따와라고 요송이나 송야 리사슈로 던지 착그랬을 때 하고서
So when we talk about the Samaya vows of the unsurpassed mantra vehicle, there are so many different kinds of Samaya, and not only that, but there are very, very subtle and intricate kinds of Samaya. And so actually, generally, these kinds of Samaya are the most difficult ones to maintain, to observe, and to protect. But actually, if we do this in terms of the view, then it is the easiest to maintain these kinds of samayas. However, if we do not have the view, then it is most difficult to maintain the samayas. So with regard to the samaya of this unsurpassed mantra, then the most important view we could have is the view of primordial purity.
제 다스 따라서 스보요 찍바라 왔더니 스보가 사치 멜론 있나요? 도서 탐치 체체그랑 진짜 저 많이 말아 왔더니 되니 가서 사사그랑 진짜 맞춰봐 이니 간이 딱 봐야 말아 간이 나가 딱 봐야 말 근데 우리 때문에 다 근데 가다 따와 이어서 뭐 그러니 되니 가랑이 사이 포장선이 다다 시바야 봐 나 근데 올라더니 가서 다 뭐도 지나더니 니시지야 당 거야 된지 요랬어 왜 삼지 못 쳐봐 근데 그때니 가서 거야다 아니 이 가서 그래 진납당 된지 정야다 뭐도 터야 된지 요랬어 가다 따와도 매송아 있나 다들 내가 지금 말 왔더니 반토고 말 와. 반 마토용 뒤다서 때 가서 아 땅이 가다가 냠슬랭 게 요새와 좀 반토고 말았어. 이거 가서 나더니 담스가 뭐 보지. 되게 함신데 하말 거는 뒤다서 때 담스 찬임도 그랬어.
So if we have this view of primordial purity, then everything actually becomes a basis for purification. And this is same when we're talking about the body with its winds and channels and so forth. This body is primordially pure. It is the basis of primordial purity. And so if we have this view, then we understand that the body is the nature of this kind of divine palace, and that this is something that's very unimaginable and something that's so filled with blessings. But if we do not have that view, then there won't be any kind of benefit for us at all. And so we need to understand what the nature of the body is here, otherwise it will cause our samayas to deteriorate or be violated. So this is something that we need to understand. We need to understand that the nature of our body is something that is primordially pure. It's pure from the very beginning. We need to understand that the body is the nature of this divine palace. It's the nature of the mandala of the victorious ones. And then giving rise to a certainty in that, we need to cultivate that. And if we have this kind of certainty in what the nature of the body is, then we will get the siddhis, we'll get the blessings, we'll get the blessings of the gods, we'll get the amrita of the gods, if we are able to understand this. And so likewise, for example, if we understand what the nature of water is, if we understand what the nature of food is, then we're able to actually get food and get water. It's because we understand what water is, we understand what food is, right? So if we understand what the nature of the body is, that if we understand its primordial purity, then we will be able to get the blessings and the siddhis based off of that, these divine siddhis. And so especially when we're talking about the practice of mantra, this view of the purity, the primordial purity of the body is something that's extremely important.
진럽 들진 종이 연습. 진럽 때 들진 종 따로 토그레스. 빼러 왔더니 진럽 들진 나오신다든지 토그레스. 라마데 무팔와 나오신지 따와 있나? 무팔와 하고서 무팔와서는 그래.
General.
Ordinary.
미큐마.
무주마 뭐 팔바세나 집바라래. 무주마 남진 따와이나 되니까서는 진납대 7마 독토고 말했어.
지르스나.
7 치다 간이 나라 그런 와. 내 말에. 어떤데 송여랬어. 대대 찍바랬어. 내가 가서서 랑 리드에 갔으나더니 하이 그 제비 쯤그 연바 또나 가래. 진납대스 도고 그랬어. 랑 리드에 담을 받는지라 담을 받으나 하고서 아니 착당 나당 정말 제가 함신다고 된다고 찍라 만드 삼로 마땅 송아이나 된다고 지만 마떡 송아이나 대 진짜 무조건 대마떡 터려요 말했어. 돈다 갖고서
So, in the context of Guru Yoga, there's one saying, which is basically that if we see the Guru as a deity, then the blessings will come like Amrita. And so this is talking about if we see or recognize our own Guru as being the nature of the deity, then we will be able to receive the blessings like that. So that's something that we need faith and devotion for. However, if we only see the Guru as an ordinary person, an ordinary being, then the only blessings that we will get is basically water and nothing else. And so likewise, if we see the body as the nature of the mandala, of the victorious one, then we get those kinds of blessings. However, if we see the body as just being the nature of filth, as blood, pus, and so forth, then there'll be nothing to obtain other than that.
Li karchaso li number taparelga li number tapa ina te tamsik number tapares hakoson ni tamsik chanim rogo mares tamsik chanim masoma ina tantene karsena tene li number tamsik chanim masoma aso ku ingu togres.
So again, we're talking about the body as being this divine palace, this palace of the deities, of the gods. And so if we have certainty in the body being this divine palace, then the body is something that is pure. And then if we recognize the body as being pure, then the samaya is pure. There will not be any violation of one's samaya. And so this is because there's a connection of one's own physical form and this Buddha body, the enlightened form. And so if we understand that connection, then we will get the siddhis of the Buddha body, of this enlightened form.
근데 이제 가랑 속에 리그 rams인데 얘니 남바 딱봐 그 rams인데스. 그 ramsin 바데 또 용디 다서다 대금하나 냠내 정나 내가 속그 리보테 한 갈선한테 대 ramsin 그 두고 말아. 맞으면 내가 가랑 속 리보테 한테니 워크 ramsin 두고가 잘리 토고가 린 잘리 같이 차래. 대지 정선지 그거라 봐. 나가서 잘리 두브레스 지요 말. 그 ramsin 얘니 그 ramsin데. 그거랑 잘 봐. 이시로 봐. 어디 ramsin데 그 ramsin 강에 받텔라 되네 가서나더니 가서고 되게 땅에 해봐서 지레스. 그래서 잘리 접세 린 잘리 접세야 돼. 지금 매번 차송 말했어. 리코랑 ramsin 강에 받대. 되네. 뭔데 절 받아. 된 잘리 있어.
So again, our body is the nature of primordial purity. And when we say primordial purity, that's another way of saying this Buddha body, this Buddha form. And so our body is actually the nature of the rainbow body, of this light body, this body of luminosity. It is primordial purity and it is the nature of primordial wisdom. And so this isn't, when we're talking about our own body, it's not that our body somehow disappears and then we get the rainbow body. It's not like that. It's actually that we're understanding, we're recognizing our body as it is, which is the nature of the rainbow body itself. And when this nature manifests itself or is actualized, then we get the rainbow body, we obtain the rainbow body.
근데 다섯 가지는 중앙 리데 가지는 중앙 제거 처벌했을 때 중앙 제거 ramsin데 이니 넘버 딱 봐봐. 가상어서 라당 아무 그런지도 못 잡아봐. 근데 지 아이 ramsin 때문에 라코나 이니 오크 ramsin 받은. 오크 ramsin데스. 라당 아무세야 돼 이니 두치기 봉보여 말했을 때. 삭치기 봉보여 말와 상매 그 오크 ramsin 때문에 되게 ramsin데 또 만나서 리 원니까지 말아야 돼. 리 원리 접하세가 원리 접하세가 단 자리 접하세가 지금 왔다. 뭐 대단한 가르스는 차야 돼. 그 ramsin 리그 ramsin 때 이니 던지고 담측된 남아 땅. ramsin 때 그런
So before we spoke of the body, the physical body, as being something that's composed by these four elements. But actually when we talk about the true nature of the four elements, it is the nature of primordial purity, it's the nature of the gods and the goddesses. And so when we say this, we mean to say that the actual nature of the four elements of the body is not something that's filthy, it's not these kind of stained aggregates. It's actually something that's primordial purity. And so when we practice in terms of having this pure view and this pure samaya, then we naturally obtain the rainbow body.
Deva tang tambasana, li deva, lila, nasamambo mebara, li deva, tene karsana, tene, parche ko wanda mandroba, ta tendrigu karsana, ni kup deva tengu yores, ni kup deva sera, ni kup deva tene, chi, tarta karsana, tene, kansa karte, ngarasu li de, ochi lila tambara, otendri rest.
So when we talk about here the samaya of the body, what then is the sign of not having violated that samaya of the body? Well, the sign is basically that one has a comfortable body. One's body is at ease. There's little to no sickness, little to no physical pain. And there are very few or no obstacles at all to one's body and physical well-being. And then based on that, in the short term, we get this kind of temporary happiness. But then ultimately, the result that we get is we get this body of luminosity. So when we talk about realizing our own body as being the divine palace, as being the palace of the gods, we're not talking about this in terms of grasping onto some kind of self. We're not thinking of it like that. Actually, if we correctly realize our own body as the divine palace, then this will actually act as an antidote to this kind of self-grasping. This self-grasping will disappear. So again, what we're talking about here is these kind of views of the body as being something that's filthy, and then based on that trying to harm the body in some way or causing some kind of harm, viewing the body as being some kind of self, grasping onto it as a self. These are things which actually violate our samaya. They cause it to decline. so the body is actually the nature of selflessness and the nature of purity. And so all those other kinds of views are actually flaws. And they're this kind of grasping or view of the body as being something inferior. So these are something that will actually stain our samaya. So these are something that we need to abandon, and then we need to give rise to certainty again and again in the pure nature of our body. And then, based on that, we will not cause violations in our samaya, and we will actually achieve great blessings.
tamsik siyong di taso nga so gitini lidi ini number takwa imaraten tamje jerwi chimkur ke ini number takwa imba tani kansu tok somba ina kare nyamba ni chakarwa nyamba ni le mare tamsik saya de gitun da nyamba ni gitun res tartik ngala me ke gomba tar da china tamsik saya de nyamba ni gitun nyamba ni sina so otan ru tane karsun zangen gitun iwa yo pa mayimba rawat nyamba ni ba otan ru gitun da res Nanda tata, teni li yeni teni kanti garang di yeni teni, tendro go teni, number takpa ma juba, o tendro go karsana teni, tamchi yeni teni in consugre, tatang tamu garang ni ba, o tendro jida dina teni, tokso ma yena ta teni, tamsi go teni, number tamu yoris, tamsi go tonta te tsalo yoris. Tendro yeni tata, teni lila teni, lower te kono teni, dewa juma ya teni, lila zimchur se gora, zimchur se na kuson. 점철라 소바더니 다더니 드트베도 망고 용배와 그저 담지 강아지니 정말에 생각더니 가서 그래 리그 담식 때 나빠 탁바니 드니 주와 망고지 되더라 주와 씨와 창자라서 망고지 그런 거지 주와 씨와 창자서 되더라 이 망고 드트베야 또 담지 강아지는 그이 담식 나빠 딱 쏘는데 또 던지 지대리 용배들에서.
So when we talk here about the samaya of the Buddha form of this enlightened body, this body is the nature of primordial purity. It is completely pure, and this will lead to realization of equality. And when we talk about samaya here, the meaning or purpose of samaya is this idea of equality. And so it's the idea that the body and that everything is this nature of purity. Everything is the nature of the gods and of the goddesses. So this is something that we need to realize, and then the purpose of the samaya will be fulfilled. It will be completed, and it will be pure. And so based off of that, having this pure samaya and this pure understanding, then we will attain all kinds of things. We will attain magic abilities, and also based on of that we'll be able to have many different emanations. So this is like Guru Rinpoche has many different kinds of emanations, so it's based off of having this kind of pure samaya. So this is something that we need. So then once we have this kind of pure samaya, then we will attain the infinite qualities of the Buddha form. And when we talk about qualities, there are many kinds of qualities. There are qualities of the enlightened body, speech, and mind. Here we're talking about the qualities of the enlightened body. So when we have this pure form of samaya, then we will get these infinite qualities, and we will be able to have many different kinds of emanations or manifestations. And then through that we will be able to benefit countless beings. And so we will get many kinds of qualities like that. So today we talked mainly about the body, but there's actually the body, speech, and mind, all of those. So we'll get to all of the rest of that next week. There will be another teaching next week.
정수 리그 정은 차성 10차지니 조여를 삼나 짜는 조여 말았어. 너디바 지금 당시에 말았어.
So don't think today that we've discussed the nature of body in great detail. It's something that we were only able to cover very briefly. So again, this is something that we only spoke about briefly today, not really in detail. So we only covered the major points, the most important points. And so we didn't really have time to go into too much detail. However, what are the important points? Basically, since if we're considering ourselves as practitioners of Dzogchen, as practitioners of mantra, then we need to understand what samaya is like. We need to understand how to purify that. If we don't understand that properly, then there's no way that we can improve ourselves, improve our practice. So this is something really important to understand. So today we were given some of the major points that you can contemplate about and think about, and then from there you can improve your realization of the view.
Yerme tüce tüle roçu